Hi guys,
Hi guys,
welcome to our YouTube channel. And I am Kemi,
and I'm Greg.
and we are the Gregs.
So we're talking about a very interesting topic, and this is something that God has laid in our hearts for a while now. But today we've decided that we are going to do it because definitely this is going to help someone and even ourselves because yes, we learn from everything, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about hurt in general. For this episode, we're talking about church hurts.
Talking about church hurts.
Church hurts.
Another hurts comes after.
Yes, so in subsequent episode we'll talk about family hurts, relationship hurts, friendship, But for today, we're talking about church hurts.
Yep.
So come with us on this very, very interesting journey. Church hurts in general, by definition, means any form of hurt that happens within the confines of a church or caused by church members. So this could be in form of an emotional abuse or hurt, psychological abuse or hurt. It could be mental, it could be physical, and it could also be spiritual.
It could also be a form of neglect from the church.
Yes.
So there are examples of church hurt.
Yes.
And you must be able to differentiate church hurt from just maybe someone just advising you about something and then you pick an offense. So an example is a pastor of your church using something that has to do with you to indirectly like preach on the altar
On a Sunday morning.
on a Sunday morning. Like that's really offensive. And people get hurt by these things. Another example is a member of maybe the ushering unit, and just talking to you, or maybe trying to maybe they want to tell you to do something and they don't say it in a nice way, maybe in a very insulting or demeaning way.
Or derogatory way.
Yes, there's no way someone is not going to feel hurt by that. So that's another example of church hurt.
Yes. Or for instance, you were not feeling too well, and then you told someone, or maybe you didn't tell someone, and by chance or deliberately, no one checked on you, no one sent you a text, no one called you, no one reached you, and you had considered this church
A community.
a community or your family.
Yeah.
That can also be very, very, very hurtful. And then another example could be a form of, let's say, sexual abuse.
Yeah.
By someone in higher authority
We hear a lot about that.
yes, who takes advantage of you, probably because you are vulnerable around them. So this could be either for males and females, but most usually it's common amongst females, right?
Yeah.
But then if something like that does happen, that can also stem and then grow into church hurts.
Yes. So these are just some of the examples.
Some we cannot exhaust
we
it.
cannot list like
It's just
there's a lot
a lot
of
different
examples of church hurts. Like if people begin to tell you what has happened to them in church, no, you'll be like, oh God, oh God, this is like a church community that we believe in, but why are these things happening? So these are just some examples that we just to let you know that there's a difference between church hurt and someone just advising you and then you're picking an offense, so maybe you just don't like the church. So yeah.
So what happens when you're hurt by your church? Usually one of the most common things that happens to us is we begin to feel this anger. And anger in itself is not bad. It's not a bad feeling, right? But then we begin to feel it towards the person or then towards the church as a whole. Usually this, when left unchecked, stems and then grows into resentment.
Exactly.
Right. And then it also stems and grows into hatred, right? So it can graduate that way. It's very dangerous because if left unchecked, right, you can begin to see not that person in a hateful manner, but then the whole church. You can begin to assume that everyone
Every
is
church,
like that.
yeah, even every church is like that.
Yes.
And stop going to church as a
Yes,
result.
yes. So that happens. That happens a lot. Another common thing that happens when people are hurt by the church or when church hurt, happens, is that they begin to stay away. Right? They would want to separate themselves from that situation. Why? That is the instinctive thing to do, when you are not in a place that you're in a place that is either unwelcoming, or you feel hurt, or you feel offended, right? But for a church, it's quite different, because the church is like a family.
Another thing that happens is that happens when church happens to you is you begin to feel like church is not a place for you.
Mm-hmm.
You begin to feel like everywhere, like all the churches are the same, and
That's not true.
you know that's not true. We're here to tell you that that's not true.
Not true.
We're telling ourselves too that that's not true. Yeah.
Things not to do when church hurt happens, right? Number one is allowing this hate to linger for
Yep.
a very long time. It is not healthy. And I can tell you from experience, it is seriously not healthy. You know, what it does, an unforgiving spirit is like a poison that acts on the soul. If you check Hebrews 12:15, the Bible did, tell us in that space there, right there. You don't want to allow it to linger than it should. You don't want to do that, because then it poisons your soul. You're in a prison. So you need to ask God to help you release whatever hate, release whatever unforgiveness in your heart, so that you can be free.
So another thing not to do is to lose faith in God because of church hurts.
Yes. Yes.
Because you need to be able to separate church hurts and, or should I say, the church and its members. Because at the end of the day, it's probably maybe a pastor in the church or even a member
An
in the church,
individual,
an individual that hurts you, not the church,
not the body
not
of
God.
Christ.
Yeah, not the body of Christ, not God. So you need to be able to differentiate it and know that even churches can actually help you to foster relationship with God. Like, it can make your relationship with God to even deepen. Because at that point in time, you begin to know that, okay, you need God more to help you, to bring you out of this hurt that a member of the church has, let's say, done to you. So another thing not to do is to move away from church entirely.
Yeah.
I've heard of a story. I've not like heard of a story. I watched like a podcast, and the lady said, for like some years, even after what
How
happened,
many
she
years?
didn't she didn't really specify. Like she did not go to church.
Hmm.
It's like, when something affects you mentally, and it's like you don't know how to bring yourself out of it, which we're still going to talk about things you can do to actually help yourself when you experience church
Church
hurt.
hurt, yeah.
So she didn't know what to do, but she stayed away from church. That's a very wrong thing to do. Like, do not, it will not help you. Yes.
The Bible describes the devil as a roaring lion, seeking whom to devour. And if you look at how lions or these animals hunt in the wild, they would hunt an animal that is separated from the pack. So this is exactly what happens when a believer decides to stay away from the body of Christ, to stay away from church, because they are hurt. They are separated from the pack, and then they make easy targets for the enemy.
You're allowing the devil to have the last laugh. Why?
Yes, because at the end of the day, you are in a much more vulnerable state, and you are much easier to attack.
All right. So now we're going to be talking about things to do when you experience church hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Let me be a bit vulnerable, or let me come out. I've also experienced church hurt at, let's say, when I was a teenager and even as an adult. So it's something that I've experienced, and talking from experience is not easy. It's not easy, but I'm in that healing process, and I believe God to help me. So number one thing that I did, or everyone should do, anyone that has experienced church hurt should do, is to first ask God to help you to forgive the person that hurt you. It's not easy, but then do you know that you're not doing it by your own power alone? God is there to help you. He's there to help you forgive that person. And you're also asking God to help your healing process, because you need to heal. You need to heal from it. It's not easy, but
Yes.
you need to heal from it.
Mm-hmm.
Or else, I've seen people, old people in their heart for 20 years, 10 years. Why? Like, like you're hurting yourself more than you're hurting the person.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that you need to pray. You need to forgive. You need to pray. You're not doing it on your own. That's why we are praying. That's why we're having faith in God to help us, to bring us out of this whole issue. The church is like a family. If your family should hurt you, that one is even deeper. Because the cultural mind is your family shouldn't be the people to hurt you. But
sometimes it happens.
it happens. And really, what can you do than to just go and meet God? That God, I beg.
You will not cut them off or
That's the thing.
denounce them.
So
Most times you won't,
yeah,
anyways.
that's the thing. But sometimes something I did was distance myself from, if it's a church community, if going back to the church and still seeing that person and you still feel so terrible in your heart, you can change your church or community, even if it's temporarily, depending when you heal. You know when you heal. It's just like when someone offends you. You know when if you see the person again, you don't feel the same way. Like that is when you know that you've healed from this thing. You can go to another church where you feel like you can find peace, because it doesn't help you to be in the same space and then you're seeing this person and you're feeling more hatred. It's not helping. But then we know that God is going to help us.
Yes.
He's going to help us. We just need to have faith in him that he's going to heal us and go through the process with us. And never lose your faith in God
Yes.
because of churches. Never.
And then I would like to add that as long as we're in this world, people are always going to offend you.
Your family, your husband, your
You
wife,
cannot run
your
away.
friends,
You cannot run away
your
from
children,
it. Right. So if you
your bestie.
that's it. So if you're coming from that perspective where you know that someone is always going to hurt you, you can practice and ask God to help you, embody what is called forbearance. That is forgiving people ahead. So even before they hurt you, you've forgiven them. We practice this a lot in marriage, right? You can also do it for people around you. That way you put yourself in a state where offense doesn't get to you. That way it's easier. So because it's also very tricky, right? If you are offended in this church, you move to another church, you're offended, you move to another church, you're offended, you move to, so you don't want to be in that constant loop, right? So
because people will always do things that we get on your nerves
every time.
like
So
people have flaws.
definitely,
That's another thing
even
we
you
need to
yourself,
know.
you have your own flaws. You're not
Exactly.
perfect.
If you just put that at the back of your mind that people have flaws, people are not perfect, and you yourself, you're not perfect. So they might have done this thing because they might not even know. That brings me to a second point of, you can also talk to these people.
Yeah, approach
them. See, it's something that I do even in friendship, even in our marriage. You do something to me and I don't like it, even with my siblings, even with my parents. Like, it can be hard because growing up, I used to be the person that would just keep it to myself. But I just realized that it was hitting me up.
It was stirring up
It
space.
was, yes, it was hitting me up. Like, and then when you keep keeping things in mind, and then you begin to pile up, the day you will burst. People will think it's one small thing that'll make you burst.
Yeah.
So one thing I do is approach these people, talk to them. You did
In
this
a
thing
respectful
to me.
manner.
That's the thing. And wait until you've calmed down a bit. Don't go and do that same that same
No,
day.
you don't
Do
do
it
it.
when you've calmed down a bit. Go to the person, message the person, call the person. Anyhow,
Let them know.
let them know that they've done something to you that you don't like it. But the thing is, we should be able to also accept whatever comes out of it. Some people they're stubborn. They won't see your point. And at the end of the day, they don't know that it's the person that get hurt that knows that they are hurt. So if you say something to someone to hurt and you don't know that you've hurt the person tells you hurt me, I don't think there's anything wrong in saying sorry.
Yeah.
But some people will not apologize to you.
Definitely.
And that's why you have to have
and
at
it's
the back
okay.
of your you have to have at the back of your mind that anything this person says, just be ready to accept it, because the person might not apologize. But again, there's some very good people who will apologize to you immediately and even tell you they didn't mean it that way. And from there, peace will reign. Like, peace will reign. Like, just and even God says, make peace with all men. You see? So even God frowns at church hurt. He frowns at even family hurt. Like, so just talk to the person.
Yes. So these are the steps that will help, right? They'll help you put yourself in a place where you can easily let things go. Because if you do not do that, you find yourself storing up negative emotions. You see this person, you want to either go a different route, or then you just feel this burning. Yeah, you just feel this burning in your heart, like your heart begins to beat faster.
The heart is just going to be messing with your head.
It's not healthy for you. So, like she said, right, you can approach them, right, talk to them about it. If you think that will help you, do it in a respectful manner, no matter what they've done. right? The second thing again you can do is to
What's the third?
okay, the third thing, right?
Yes, the third thing.
So before we go to the third thing, so what if the hurt comes from someone who is like much older or much senior?
That's when you either talk to an elder in the church, or you look for someone that is spiritually minded. You can,
Like a
you know
counselor,
them,
right?
yes, like a counselor. You know them when you see them. Like you can feel it when you see them that
Okay.
this person, I can talk to them about what happened. Like talk to them, ask them what they think, ask them that you can tell them. Do they think they can they give you like maybe an audience? Okay, let's assume it happens like for the example I made about a pastor preaching something about you.
Or a pastor maybe sleeping with someone in church,
Exactly.
right? And
So
then the lady is hurt, and then she doesn't know how to go about it, and she doesn't want to leave the church, which I would advise anyways. But if she doesn't want to leave the church, maybe she loves the church body so much, right? Advice, like she said, talk to someone, an elder in that church, who can help you settle the case, or else it will linger and linger, and then the consequences are usually very terrible. We've heard people killing each other, right? We've heard people going to harm the other person in unimaginable ways because they've allowed the hurt in their hearts to degenerate for years without attending to it.
to keep rotting.
That's it, right? It is like you keep something in a bin, you keep food somewhere, the food is going to get spoiled.
Or like orange.
Yeah, the food is going to get spoiled. And when it gets spoiled, what happens is it begins to create like spores and there are microorganisms
Smell.
everywhere and it smells. So from that little thing, it can infect an entire congregation, infect an entire unit, infect an entire family, and then it begins to get very, very bad.
So don't keep quiet about church. Talk if you need to. If talking is all you can do, please look for someone to talk to. Look for or talk to the person that hurt you.
The person that hurts you is really
Yes.
very key.
Or you look for an elder in the church to
That
seek
can
advice.
mediate
Because
into
just staying, yes, you can pray, but yes, also you can also seek like advice from someone.
Yes. Very importantly, if you've been hurt before or you are currently undergoing healing process, please remember, do not hurt someone else the way you've been hurt. Remember how you felt about it. Remember how it made you cry. Remember how the thing, did not help your emotional health or your mental health, or maybe you had to like go see a psychologist or something.
Yeah.
We don't know the effect and how lasting or how terrible it will be. But last thing you want to do is contribute to that never ending cycle and then going to hurt someone else because you've been hurt.
Yeah.
It's not good. It is very bad.
An example is when, let's say, you're in a boarding house now. This thing that senior prefects or seniors do, you know that thing of, okay, they did it to me when I was a junior, and you want to do it back to someone else. So because let's say it was done to you by, let's say, a member of the ushering unit, or maybe a choir member or something,
Or anybody.
So you now get to that position, so I decide to do it to someone that maybe is just, you don't even know if the person is just a born again Christian, like he's just trying to
find their footing,
and then you do that to them.
Yeah,
you
and
you just like that they say 99 people and then there's one person that is still an unbeliever. It's like that person is just about to enter and you're just trying to like cut the person out again. Do you understand? So please don't do to others what you don't like people to do to you.
Yes.
Or people are done to you.
Yes.
You don't need to do it back to people to feel good. You will not feel good anyway.
Actually, you won't. Whatever emotion you think you're satisfying, it's not sponsored by God. I can assure you.
That's it.
I can assure you. Thank you very much for sticking with us up until this time.
Yes.
If you do have any comments, either collaborating what we said or outrightly contradicting what we said,
yes,
please put in the comments.
Or even examples. You can give us more examples of
Have you been hurt before?
Tell us about it. What did you do?
What
do you
did
know
you
that
do?
someone could be reading the comments and you could be helping someone out there?
Yes.
So please don't forget to like our video, subscribe if you haven't, and leave a comment.
Yes.
Share what you have, your ideas, anything. You can be helping us, you can be helping anybody that is actually watching the video or reading the comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And see you in the next part of this church and family hurt.
The hurt is not church, it's hurt.
Okay, sorry. He said the hurt.
The hurt.
Bye.
Bye.